Hey there, Aquarium pals. Jeremy Wright here with the Arkansas Planet Aquarium Club, and I'm just checking Tank B, my 55-gallon Convict Cichlid tank that I've been shown quite a bit in the past few months. What's going on right now in here is a recent brood of baby convicts, which we can see right around this area, darting around. Looks like there's one, maybe two of them that are Arctic white. Most of them are polar blues. But this tank changed quite a bit, 2 or 3 days ago. I did the first large water change in this tank, which really removed a lot of the tannins. Water became a lot clearer, easier to see, and as a result, it's a lot more enjoyable to view. But in that process, I discovered that not only are these young convicts doing really well, and you can see there are 2 or 3 Arctic whites, and believe it or not, that large Arctic white is not one of the parents. It wasn't even in this tank yet. I moved that guy or gal. Actually, I haven't sexed this one yet. I haven't seen any red show up, so it might be a male. But anyway, I've been really looking at these fish a lot more over the last couple of days now that I can see them. And like I said, in doing that last water change, I found that there are, a lot more fish in here than I knew about, which is great. Healthy fish. Everything's doing well, maybe with the exception of that Anubias plant that keeps getting knocked loose. I might just have to remove it entirely. And I'm probably going to add another light to this tank. There's one 4-foot shop light above this tank, and that's it. Given that there are convicts in here, not a lot of the submerged plants do well. And that's just a Convict Cichlid thing. I mean, I can try. Actually, one thing I might get that would probably do pretty well is alternate Theraphyloxides, which is alligator weed. I haven't had any of that in a few years, and it just sort of came to mind when I was looking up here at this Mexican petunia, which is this plant. It's really an above water plant. It's kind of fallen down since that last water change, so I probably need to modify how some of those plants are sticking up or not sticking up from the water line. I was also kind of planning on sticking some lights maybe up on the ceiling, kind of like how I have some of these panel lights, like that one, and let's see, there are a number of these kind of that I've stuffed down here as undershelf lights. Obviously these are off right now, but thinking about putting 2 more of those up there such that it can support some plants that are growing up above the water line pretty well. Otherwise, this is kind of the first view of this tank that I've gotten in a standard format. I shot a couple of shorts and shared them when I was doing this most recent water change, but I haven't shared any standard video footage of these guys or this tank in a bit. And a little bit of diatom stuff going on. That was cleared off as well for the most part, right? I missed some kind of up in the corner up there and down in a couple of the lower reaches, but for the most part, this tank a whole lot more viewable, a whole lot more enjoyable. You can see what's going on now. I can see that, well, despite there being quite a few fish in here, they are breeding nicely. Everybody seems to be really happy and healthy, and it's just a really robust colony. Now, I did find about 4 or 5 days ago one dead fish in here, and it's kind of unusual for me to find fish that have perished in any of my aquariums, 20-something tanks. It's not very normal for me to find dead fish. One of the reasons is they're all fairly stocked. The other is they're all planted aquariums, and most of them are pretty dense. So like, how are you gonna find a dead fish in that, right? Like the snails are gonna eat it before you find the fish. But this tank, because there's just not a lot of undergrowth down here, if a fish dies, I'm gonna find it. And I did, and I was kind of surprised because my convicts don't come up dead very often, but it's probably the sort of thing where, see these parents, those two large fish are the parents of these. And if any of these other fish get just too close into the mix of what's going on around the babies, they'll just get attacked. And this is another one of the parents that is hanging, or here, two of these parents. I recognize these fish, but I understand everyone else wouldn't. These two are the fish that have this cave. Those two are the fish that have this cave. And it's just how it goes. And that one have this area. And because their fry are very small, they are kind of aggressively pushing back any of the fish that come, into their territory. So probably what I need to do is just keep dividing this colony. Keep dividing it and dividing it. But they're giving me a lot of indication that these fish really enjoy this setup and that it's stable. So, even though I just moved that polar white in here, I'm probably going to pull out that polar white, the other two or so polar white juveniles from this side of the tank, and just, set them off into either another like 29 or 55 or something, and keep it rocking and rolling. But it's pretty much time to start catching these guys off and start thinking about finding homes for them. So if you are in the South, or especially in the Arkansas area, let me know. These are, polar blues. I'm not going to sell any of the Arctic whites. They're going to stick around here and become a breeding project. These are just such neat fish, though. Like, if you've never had convicts, especially, I don't have words for how interesting and how entertaining they are. And so check this out. This fish is a little bit strange. This is donkey lips. He's been hanging out. He was in my 29 for quite a while because I didn't want him in with the others. And finally I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna move that fish in there. He's not gonna hurt anything. He's probably not gonna be breeding just because he's a little bit goofy, but seems to be doing fine. That's my weird fish. That's that's my weird fish. So otherwise, I just wanted to share this tank because it's looking a little better than it was when you couldn't see into the murky depths. But after doing that first large water change, which I'm gonna say was like a 75 or 80% water change, things are looking a lot better. And really the only reason I did that was because of the tannins. It was so dark I couldn't really see what's going on. And the reason for that, soil under sand for one. Two, convicts just make a mess as they start digging, as they're, making their little caves and holes and uprooting things and moving hardscape around, moving the substrate around. They just make a mess, and that's a convict cichlid thing. And I would invite you to find out for yourself. These are cool fish. They're really cool fish. My background was really in breeding live bearers and angelfish and gouramis. And 3 or 4 years ago, I was at a local swap. I bought like 6 polar blue convicts and hadn't looked back. They've just been really entertaining. I bought them when they were probably that size, and 2 different groups. They were from 2 different suppliers, and I've just loved them. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to checking some other stuff and playing with the tubes myself. If you enjoy this sort of thing, give me a like, subscribe, comment, do some interacting, and I'm gonna get back to hanging out with my fish and plants. Catch you later.